Good morning, sir. Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Hello.
Hello, good morning, madam. Good morning, very good morning to all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam. Okay. Very good morning to all. Is my voice audible now? Please do respond. Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yesterday was there was a lot of disturbance in my place, so that's why I was not able to uh, take the class. Uh, yeah, today's class. Yesterday was that important. That is a lesson from Untouchable, Milkraj Anand's, one of the important lesson. One question will come, compulsory. One question will come, and today's lesson is on train to Pakistan. And I'm not giving the summary of this novel because in our textbook also they did not give the summary. Just they looked at the overview of what happened during the period of partition time. This is what they mentioned. So we look at that point of view. If you look at the questions on page number 75, page number 75, if you look at the questions also, it is displaying the same thing. But look at the second question, page number 75, second question, write an essay on how the train to Pakistan provides a social history of Pakistan. Sorry, social history of partition. And it's nothing like the summarizing the thing, and we look at these important points in this novel. First, we should know about the author, Kushwant Singh. The details have given on page number 68. The lesson begins, Unit 9, Train to Pakistan, written by Kushwant Singh. Page number 68. Page number 68. This novel has another name, Mano Majra. Mano Majra. Train to Pakistan or Mano Majra, both are same. This is published in 1956. Published in 1956 after the 10 years or 8 years of the massacre, the cruelty that has taken in those days. And this man, Kushwant Singh, is one of the well-known journalists in India. He worked as a British High Commissioner to India. He is a writer, creative writer, as well as a journalist. Let's look at the important points from his life and from the novel.
Sir, you are muted, sir. You are not. Your
Yeah,
voice
just
is.
I realized I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, this is his biography. Slightly, this slide I have taken from some other place with some other slide, and look at this can give you a useful information for us. This is the birth details of uh, Kushwant Singh. He born in 1915 in a Sikh family. In a Sikh family, grew up in the Muslim majority village of Hadali, border of Punjab, now in Pakistan. He lives in the border of Pakistan, where the Muslim majority population was there, and his mother tongue is Punjabi, but he is a fluent of Urdu language. These things were there. And when we look at his professions, he has a versatile role. He is a writer, diplomat, lawyer, and journalist, as well as a politician. He explored all public dimension, all social living areas. Very, very important. He is witness of major events and incidents in India. He worked as a deputy. He worked as a High Commissioner to India in England. This man has a lot of influence in all areas which are mentioned in the slide. If you take it as a diplomat, if you take it as a journalist, as a writer, as well as a politician, everywhere. As a writer, now today we are going to look at his one of the finest work, Train to Pakistan. When the India was partitioned, that time he was in the Lahore, like many other politicians of our earlier independence days, pre-independence days. Most of the politicians that were ruled, that were administered India were born in the Lahore area or in the Pakistan area, like Manmohan Singh and other people. And he was also the same person. And Kushwant Singh's Train to Pakistan, he has written, though the events and incidents are the real, but he made it in a fictional village. So that's why our novel name is A Train to Pakistan as well as Mano Majra. Mano Majra. This place is a fictional town like R.K. Narayan's Malgudi days, Malgudi village. It is also a fictional place, which is a border between India and Pakistan. India and Pakistan. He discussed about the things what happened in that village. That village is a representation of Sikh community, Hindu community, Christian community, as well as the Muslim community. Four communities were living together without having any problems, without having any discrimination, without having any suspicious nature on each other. So it was a very peaceful village. It was very peaceful village. Here, in this novel, what we should look at the social history point of view, whatever the government has given the data, the how many people were died, how many people were raped, how many people were sent as a dead bodies in the trains, these things were very less, comparing to the taking it from the social memory, from the public memory, because it is a traumatic incident. It was a trauma. It was a trauma on many people's mind. It is a traumatic narration. The partition narration is a traumatic narration. This narration comes from the public memory. These kind of words you should write in your examination, or else you can understand through this point of view. Though it is a fictional story, it represents the social reality of the days of India's partition, and that happened in a fictional village where the Radcliffe line was there. That is the partition line between India and the Pakistan. That place name is the Mano Majra, which is not dominated by the Sikhs, but equal proportion was there. But majority people were the Sikhs, since it is in the Punjab. It is one of the Sikh religion. He is representing the people in that village and the community in the whole, and the new emergence of ideas that are entered into politics and the communal rights that took place in that period, in that time period, especially communal rights. And these were narrated through each character. And this each character is representing a religion. And one of the important thing we should look at in this unit 9 is that the theme. The theme is in the sense, one is the theme is the train. The train is one of the theme. It is there on page number 74. It is there on page number 74. You can note down. I am just splitting the things according to how you can answer the question. So like this. The train is one of the theme here in this. Why the train is important? This story is happening during the period of 1947. That was the time India got independence, and that is the time we are under the British rule. The famous British rule is that divide and rule. Divide and rule. They don't like this kind of unity. So now they did the same thing in the name of the religion, and Muslims should go to Pakistan and Hindus should remain in the India. If at all those people are in the Pakistan Hindus, they should come here and the Muslims should go there. This kind of rule was there, and overnight the people should have to pack up everything and leave for the places. So that thing happened. But when we look at the theme, when we look at the train as a metaphor, when we are using this train as a metaphor, it gives a different connotations, different meanings in Indian. What is this? So in Indian social history and Indian literature. For example, if we look at the India, the train is that the train. Actually, the train is introduced by the British people, East India Company people, British people, and this trains is meant for to transport our resources to other places, particularly to the Britain, to the London. They will take our resources. So it has a negative connotation. The train, maybe it is a transportation and it can take us from one place to the another place. But the introduction of the railways is meant for to take our resources to their places. At the same time, in this novel, it is also doing the same thing. It is also doing the same thing. It is parted the people, divided the people, and taking and transporting the people from the different locations, irrespective of their family history, irrespective of their family clan that was existing there for centuries together. That doesn't matter. Only based on the religion, it is taking out the people and connecting the emotions, disconnecting with the emotions, with the associating with the places, disconnecting with the families. Just simply merely in the name of the religion, they are taking away. That massacre, this man has documented in this novel. These trains in the novel called as ghost trains. Remember, these trains in the novel is called as a ghost trains because they are bringing the dead bodies, not the people with alive. They are not the alive people. The people are the dead bodies whenever they are coming. Maybe due to the rape, due to the murder, due to the killing, due to the mass killings, or else due to the lack of food and water, the people died in the trains itself. The trains are not just transporting the humans, they are transporting the human bodies. So that is why they are calling these are the ghost trains. The same thing is the ghost train is importing and exporting the people from Lahore to Mano Majra. Because since it is a border town, many people are gathered. The Muslims are going towards the Pakistan, Lahore, and the Hindus and the Sikhs and other religion people, they are migrating to the train to the Mano Majra. It is the place. So in this village, what is happening? That is what we discussed in this novel. It has given a lot of information. Yes, we look at the characters, very important characters in this novel. The first one is the Jugga or Jugat Singh. Jugat Singh is named as a Jugga. He is a Sikh robber who is burdened by both his own criminal past and the notorious reputation of his father, Alam Singh. This Jugga has a girlfriend. Her name is Noora. She is a daughter of Muslim weaver Himam Baksh. He has a girlfriend, lover. Her name is Noora. And the girl is pregnant because of the Jugga. And this character, we can realize it. You can remember up to this level. This is fine. And there's another character. Another character name is the Malli. Another character name is Malli. Before going to look at the Malli character, Jugat Singh or Jugga and Iqbal Singh both are friends. Jugat Singh is a native of the Manomachra, but the person Iqbal Singh is received education, is a well-educated person from the Britain, and he stayed in the way in Delhi. Now during this partition time, he wanted to awaken he wanted to awaken or inspire the people for the new India, for the new independent India, for a new political purposes. That is his idea to be launched in this Manomajra village. And he wanted to tell that the conspiracies of the people and their fears, unknown fears, he wanted to tell them, he wanted to make realize them their actual situations. That is his job. But the incident begins. There is an important person of the Manomajra village. His name is Lala Ramlal. This man is a Lala Ramlal. This man is a money lender. This man is a money lender. Lala Ramlal. He was murdered. He was murdered by a gang. The gang leader name is Malli, M-A-L-L-I, Malli. But the police officer, one of the police officer assumed because this person, our Jugat Singh, is a small time robber. He thought that this Jugat Singh and the new person Iqbal Singh must have murdered this Rama Lal Singh. He know that, but these people did not. But even though he took them and imprisoned in that place, and Malli was doing the same thing. He was robbing and continues the things. And this person was a money lender in that village. Three people were important along with the Nuran. Nuran, this Jugat Singh was one different community, and Nuran is another one, comes from the another community. When the Ram Singh murder was taken, the what is this Ramlal murder was taken, that time, the Jugat Singh and Nuran was together. He was not in the murder, he was not in the murder space, Ramlal murder space. And this person, Iqbal Singh, was not yet arrived to the Manomajra. But this person, inspector, he assumed with his preconceived notions, he put them in the jail. So this is the background of the thing. Yeah, Iqbal Singh information is here. See, if you look at, he comes to Manomajra from Pakistan to raise awareness about the land reform, economic and political rights for the peasants. He is a newly emerging leader in India. Newly emerging leader in India, with coming up with a solid information, what kind of rights the people should make, and what kind of the situation was emerging in new India. And yeah, so this is enough up to here, and you can read it because we go deep into that. There are a lot of things to study, but no need to as of now because we have a very less time. I'm just going with the important characters. Another person is the Hukumchand. He is a magistrate and a deputy commissioner in Manomajra. He is representing the India. He is a magistrate means this person is representing the India. He is the act of law. He is the act of law. Whatever he says according to the rule book, that should be practiced. That is the existence and the metaphor of the Hukumchand. Hukumchand has a lady. He is being with a lady. One of the inspector arranged her, and we'll look at the later characters. He is in his 50s and married, but his children and wife all have died. The head constable who arrested the Iqbal Singh and Jugga worked under his authority. He spends his time with a young Muslim prostitute named Hasina. This Hasina is arranged by the head constable. And till the end of the story, the Hasina is being with him. Lala Ramlal, we have discussed. He is a person, wealthy Hindu money lender in Manomajra by the Malli and his gang. He was beaten and robbed. Is my voice audible?
Yes,
Is
sir.
my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Another person is the Imam Baksh, Noran's father. He is a blind and serves as the mullah of the local mosque. He is also friend of Meet Singh. These things, money. Okay. And another one important thing, the Malli. This fellow is a very important person. Malli is the leader of the dacoity, beating, looting, and killing Lala Ramlal. Jugga was once a member of Malli's gang. Once, when Malli and Jugga were in the jail, they have a fight. In revenge, Malli plot against Jugga in the case of Ramlal's murder. So this is the story behind Jugga's arrest. The three important characters were there, woman characters. One is Jugga's mother and Hasina. This Hasina is a Muslim girl who works as a prostitute and who becomes the Hukum Chand's girlfriend. That is her story. And Nuru or the Nura, she is the girlfriend of Jugga and she is a pregnant woman right now because of the Jugga's relationship. Yes. This is a slight information about the characters in this novel. And one word you should remember in this novel is a Kalyu, and we call it as a Kalyu. Kalyu. It is one of the section in the beginning section that titled in the novel that describes these massacres. That describes this massacres. The time schedule in Manomatra started going wrong. Trains become less punctual than ever before, and many more started to run through the night. How the trains are running and taking the people from the Manomatra stations. And that village, the Manomatra village, all of the sudden, due to this communal tension, they're separated. They divided into the communities. Sikhs are the one side and the Muslims are the one side, and both have a suspicion on each other. These people may kill us, and those people may kill us, something like that. The Muslim people were afraid of because the ghost train is bringing the Sikh community people from the Lahore, and if the people come, they will become the more members and they may kill us. And at the same time, the Sikh people also were in the same kind of insecurity, and there will be no Muslim people. They will come and they will kill us, and they may loot us. These kind of communal tensions and insecurities were emerged among these religion groups, and they separated each other. Some community people went to the Gurudwara for the shelter and protection. Some community people went to the masjid to take their protection until the train comes and take them to Pakistan. And in between that time, the Malli took the advantage. The Malli is a robber, they call it. He took the advantage because the Imam issued an ordinance that all Muslims should pack up their basic necessities and whatever the property that they can carry along with them. So, please get ready, the train is coming, you should leave. So that kind of thing he has given within the minutes, within the hours, and within the night. So many people have collected their material, whatever they can carry. And most of the lands, the properties, the houses were the vacated. These houses, these land properties are occupied by this Mallis gang. So these kind of people were emerged in those periods, and this was not documented by the government information. This is there only on the public mind. This is there only on the public mind because their people were died, their people were killed, their people were raped, their people were killed on the roads or else there is a Sutlej river in that on the way Sutlej river that is coming from the Pakistan to towards India. That river is floated with the dead bodies, naked bodies, dead bodies, and only heads. These kind of things they have seen and they were afraid. Such things this person Pushpan Singh has documented in his novel. Yes. Next, I am moving to another one. Uh, it's Lihov. It's Unit 77. Here, only one question you should focus on, just summarizing the social history. It is a partition novel. It is a partition narration. You should remember from this text. On page number 69, 9.2.1, if you look at partition narratives, read this and you can elaborate on your own. Page number 69, and it continues to till page number 70. There may be a question. The question of identity in trying to Pakistan, explain in your own words. For example, if the question comes like this, more or less, there is the same story. The question of identity. It is just like it is divided based on the religion. The man is identified only through the religion, not with his identity, not with his emotions, not with his attachment to the land and the place and the people. These things you should remember and you can write in your answer. The next one is Unit 10, Ishmat Chughtai's Lihaf. Ishmat Chughtai's Lihaf. This is also, this is a short story. Remember, this is a short story. You have only, how many short stories you have in this text? Yeah. In this book, in our textbook, Unit 10 is present lesson, the quilt, and Unit 18, Volga, Ioni, Volga, Ioni. Both are short stories. Both are only, you have two short stories in this book. In our textbook, only two short stories. One is the quilt and the second one is Ioni. Both are dealing with one of a taboo topic called sexuality. The Unit 18 as well as Unit 10. The present one is the Unit 10, Lihov, Ishmat Chugtai, written by Ishmat Chugtai. It's one of the controversial story. It's one of the controversial story and banned in those days. Yeah. Look at the page number 81. This lesson begins in the page number 77. And first, we go to this page number 81. What this unit is discussing and exploring three things. It is there on the 10.4. We have some issues it explores. Some issues it explores. Is my voice audible? There is no response from your side.
Yes, sir.
These are the three important things that you should read. Actually, you should read on your own the story. It's available on internet. The story is not published here, and it has given only the summary. I have given a link on the first day where it can be available. This uh, drama or else this film, maybe 1 hour or 45 minutes film. This is available on own app. You can watch and read the story on internet. This is giving only a thematic exploration, thematic understanding of Baliham, and at the same time, this unit is dealing with the two important things, that is the Progressive Women's Writing Association, PWA. This is there on page number 78. Page number 78, 10.2. The cultural context of Lehigh. The cultural context of Lehigh. And the second thing, you should understand the 10.4. Lehigh, some issues it explores. One is cultural context, and second one is the issues this unit is exploring. And third thing you can look at the summary. This is there on the 10.3, page number 79. Page number 79. This unit you should understand. You should understand this way. The cultural context of the Lehigh means what happened when the Lehigh was published, was written, and why this woman writer has taken up this subject, and how the society has responded or reacted to her work. Based on the thing, how a woman writers association is developed, and what kind of writing was written in those days, especially in the early, pre-independence days, and what kind of place was given to the women writers, and what were their themes, topics, and expressions. Those things are discussed in the Progressive Writers Association and Women Writing in India. Women Writing in India. And the next thing you should understand the Lehigh, the present stories, themes. What kind of themes that are involved in the Lehigh? One is the gendering the female child. See, this is a very complex one. The gendering the female child. Female child. The child is a child. She may be brought up with a gender sensitive, but in that very 6 years, 7 years, 8 years old, she cannot identify the roles of the gender. Maybe the brought up is a little different one. And the next one is the very central theme of this story, sexuality. And the third one is the labor and the leisure. Labor and leisure. So if you read these things, you can understand. What she wants to say to us. And other thing, in Ishmat Chuptai, this Ishmat Chuptai, she is from North India, Lucknow, and she is a film writer also. She married a director or a writer in Bombay, and she writes for films also. She has taken this story from a child point of view. It happened in somewhere in the Lucknow's Haveli. I told you the Lehigh means it's a bed sheet, it's a quilt, the covering bed sheet. On page number 77, if you look at Ishmat Chugtai is frequently described as an iconoclast and a rebel. Why? Because she persistently pushed against the constraints imposed by society. She challenged the ideas of social propriety and disrupted notions which prescribed how women ought to be. She was a she was a fiercely independent thinker, and this is best evident in her writings. She is an independent woman as well as considered as a rebel that she expressed her views without having any fear, and she challenged the societal existing notions. So that is how she is considered as one of the prominent writers. And this story is written in Urdu language, not in English language. Later it translated into English language, but the story is a short story written in Urdu language, and maybe the story is published in the 1941. 1941. After publication of this story, the government imposed and arrested on different kind of charges against her, but and they banned the story also. Later, they lifted this ban, and now it is free to available for us. In this novel, in this story, we should remember about four characters. We should remember four characters. The four characters' name is one is Nawab Sahib. One character name is Nawab Sahib. One character name is Nawab Sahib, and another character is Begum Janu. She is a very beautiful woman. Begum Janu. She is a very beautiful woman. And Begum Janu's assistant. Her name is Rabbu. Begum Janu's assistant. Her name is Rabbu. Nawab Sahib, Begum Jan, and Begum Jan's associate or assistant Rabbu, and one 6 to 7 years old small girl child. The story is revolving around these four characters. There are other characters also small characters, but these are the main characters. This story is narrated from an unknown child narrator point of view. Writer Ishmat Chugtai written this story through a girl child point of view. The girl child name is not disclosed. We don't know. A unknown girl child, and about her traumatic experience. This I cannot use the word traumatic, but her experience about her one of the days experience that has documented in the story. This girl, she brought up in a family. And she played with her brothers. She played with her brothers' friends. They are also male. They are also boys, but she did not experience any sort of a thing, any sort of a discrimination. She is just a girl. She brought up and played with them happily. She did not see any sort of discrimination while she is playing along with the boys, and at the same time, she did not find herself as a different one. That is the important thing in this story. And the second point, one fine day, these people, her parents, this girl's parents, went away on a work to some other place towards Agra. The story context, it happened in a Lucknow's Haveli. And this girl is left in one of her cousin's place. Her cousin is this Begum Jan. And now, when it comes to the Begum Janu's context, Begum Janu is a beautiful woman, very beautiful woman, and she married to Nawab Sahib. Nawab Sahib in his 40s, 50s, but Begum Jan is very young age. and she married her. She married him because this Nawab Sahib is considered as a noble person, is a humble person, because he doesn't have any bad habits. He doesn't visit any prostitute houses. He does not take any drinks, and he did not spoil his reputation by doing any other unsocial activities or antisocial activities. He is a very noble person, virtuous person. That person is married, this beautiful Begum Jani, and the man is known in the town. He's encouraged the students, especially the young boys, especially encouraged young boys, and he conducted the schools and the places for their entertainment. And he borne all the expenditures, whatever has happened for this the young boys activities in his haveli. He is known for that. So that is why everyone is jealous of this Begum Janu, that you are going to marry a noble person, very humble person, and your life will be happy. So that kind of things were there. But when she entered into the house, she realized that Begum Janu is nothing, just like a material, just like a doll, just like a chair, just like a bed, just like a material, just stay in the house itself. Begum, the Nawab Sahib never turned up towards her, and she was afraid and she was suffered a lot. As a young bridegroom, she expected a lot of things along with the from the Nawab Sahib, but he did not give anything towards to her. So so then she dissatisfied about everything. She doesn't know how to console her, and she found a way through her assistant. Her name is Rabu. Here we should according to the textbook, according to the criticism of the story, we should look at the Begum Janu. She is the epitome of the beauty. She is a very sensitive one. She is carrying carrying that feminine nature. But when it comes to the Rabu, she is a woman. She is a woman, uh, but she carries a male kind of a nature. Her body is very strong. Uh, though she is a woman, she has a kind of a male kind of a nature. The way her fitness, body fitness, her appearance, her way of behavior, or something like that. And these two people were when she joined with her, in their haveli. One second. When she was joined with her, uh, this lady again earlier, before meeting the Rabbu, she was very dissatisfied, unglory, and her beauty has lost. She was being with the depression and the suffering for some unknown reason. But when this Rabbu is joined and assisting her, then later she became regained her beauty and her glory and her happiness, because these things had happened very long time of the bathing that happened under her treatment of the under her Rabbo's treatment, and she took a long time of the bathings, and she was addicted to the Rabbo's massages, blah blah blah, whatever the things you read in the story, and she was addicted to that. Slowly they developed a relationship. These kind of things is a taboo to talk pre-independence days. The story is published in around the 1941, in the 1940s, pre-independence era. These kind of unnatural things, speaking is a crime. Doing is a more crime, but speaking is a worst crime. So that kind of situation, this lady Ishfaq Chittai has written this story. So that is why the British India banned this story. And Rabbu has a son. He is a very young and handsome person, and he was also one of the participant in Nawab Saab's conducting school. But one fine day, without telling any reason, he left the place. He did not visit this place again. And many people, he was looking for the good-looking people, handsome people. Nawab Saab was good-looking people and handsome people, especially in the man, the boys. The reason is not disclosed yet. because the Ishmat Chittai writing style, we should understand here, she did not mention anything directly. That is her specialty. She wrote implicitly, and it leave or left to the reader's imagination. The reader can imagine what is happening there. So that is the beauty of Ishmat Chittai's writing style. This novel, this story is dealing with clearly homosexual, lesbian relationships, but she did not mention it anywhere. Anyway, through her language, through her narrative techniques. The writing about the homosexuality and lesbian is a crime, and the writing as well as the speaking. But Ishmat Chittai cleverly took up this Antapura politics, the Haveli politics, and she mentioned in her story. This story we come to know through a child experience, through the child experience. That child, one day she come and stayed in the Haveli along with the Begum Janus, and the child was sleeping. The child was sleeping, but suddenly she realizes something is happening is the next to her bed under the quilt, under the lihaf. The lihaf was shaking and moving like a monster. This was made her afraid, made her fear. She doesn't know what is happening. And one fine day, Rabbu left due to her emergency work. And Begum Janu was very unhappy. She was not able to take the food. She was not able to sleep properly. And there are no people to give her a proper massage to her. That time, she found this small girl and asked her to help her through the massage and asked her to touch her body and everything. This girl was afraid and she doesn't know what she's been doing, what she is being done. And at the same time, during the night time also, that Begum John asked her to sleep with her, and she does something on her girl's body. She was afraid of these things. She wanted to escape from the place. She doesn't have any choice. But she waited till the next day. The next day, Rabbu came, and Rabbu and Janu were doing something under the quilt. This was made her fear. This was like a nightmare to her, because she thought that there is a monster is moving here and there under the quilt. She doesn't want to see that monster. That kind of fear she was holding. And the later next day, she escaped from the house when the parents comes. Later, she started writing the story when she was covering a quilt in her own room. She was afraid and looked at the treehouse and started remembering the bad or else the unfavorable memories that happened in the Begum Jonas house. These things, and this is a summary of a short summary of the quilt. I'm not going into much details. You can read the story. It is available on internet. It's available on internet, or else you can watch the movie. Here you can see the questions on the page number 86. Page number 86. Write a short note analyzing the conclusion of Liha. The third question, write an essay analyzing Liha as the growing up story of a girl child. Or else the first one, write a short note detailing how the trusting and innocent perspective of the child is used to tell the story of Liha. Either this question, first question, or the third question are important. More or less, both are conveying the same thing. That's the summary. You remember these four characters and elaborate the story in your own words and read the story in this point of view. The progressive women's writing in India, and Progressive Writers Association context. Because these Progressive Writers Associations, they took up a challenge against the existing social norms. A woman should be like this. A woman ought to be like this. Why we should be like this? We are also having the feelings, emotions, and expressions. We should express it on our own. So that is the idea comes from the Progressive Women's Writers Association. This has given a little description in the page number 78, 10.2.1 in the first place. And there they have written the tracing its tyrannies, hypocrisies, emotions, and relationships. Her stories explores the challenges that were occurring in middle class lives during the time of nation building. That time there was no nation because it's a pre-independence time. So that time, what is happening in the middle class people's lives? And this Begum Janu comes from a middle class family. Nawabs is a very rich person, very affluent person. From that point of view, the story has begun. And the next one, I'm going to look at missing magical. I will connect with the other poems. Meanwhile, I will complete the another one. Unit 12. Unit 12. My story, Kamala Das.
Yes, sir.
In this unit 12, page number 96, page number 96, you look at the two important questions. Discuss the main features of an autobiography. Discuss the main features of an autobiography. And the third question, write a brief note on the evolution of women's self in my story. And the next fifth question is, how do we understand the term creativity? How do we understand the term creativity? And this is a very, very important lesson, especially in the women's writing. If we classify this into the women's category, women's writing, and this is in our textbook, it is called as autobiography section also. Like the autobiography is like from first one is the Subbarau's autobiography. The Subbarau's, and this one is considered as the autobiographies. So this autobiography is a woman's autobiography, and we have the Kamala, the Saguna, is also a fictional autobiography. Subbarao is autobiography. Saguna is autobiography, and my story is a autobiography here. This is the third one. This is the second woman she is writing, and this is not a fictional one, but this is a real. The Kamala Das is India's one of the very important and eminent writer. Kamala Das. She writes poetry and fiction in Malayalam as well as in English, Malayalam and English. Today's this one is so this is her details. She is born as a Kamala. Her name is Kamala. She is born the name of a Kamala in Nayar's family. In the 1934 March, somewhere today's a place called Thrissur. It's one of the beautiful district in Kerala. She is a Keralite, Malayali. She writes her poetry in Malayalam as well as in English, short stories, novels, and autobiography. These things, and she married to a person called Das. I forgot his name. What is his first name? Madhav Das. The Madhav Das. Her husband name is Madhav Das. She born to a this is a Nayar's family. This is also one of the we can say the word upper caste or upper class people, traditional and orthodox. And this person is our Kamala Das. was a victim of lot of abuses in her life. Victim of lot of abuses in her life, and she writes this autobiography in a form of serial in the earlier. Wait, 1 second. Yeah. She born into a literary family. Her mother is a poet, and her father is also a poet. Uh, uh, rather than her father, he is into the literary things because he is the managing director of the one of the Malayalam's most famous newspaper, Mathrubhumi. He is the managing director of that newspaper. His family is a literary family. Her mother is a poet. Her uncle is a poet. They were very poet. They write different kind of verse styles. And she studied in a convent education background. She has a very good knowledge in both English and Malayalam. And in her very young age, she learned how to write poems and short stories. And her mother encouraged, and most of her childhood uh, she was spent in Calcutta because her father was working with the Rolls-Royce company in those days in the Calcutta, and later they shifted to the Kerala, and they started working in the Mathrubhumi newspaper. At the age of 15, at the age of 15, this uh, Kamala Das, Kamala Das married to a bank officer. His name is Madhav Das. She had 3 children. They are the boys, and this Madhav Das is a bank officer. He encouraged her to write the poetry, whatever the writing career. But earlier they stopped it, but later he encouraged her interests. These things she mentioned in her book. She is a Hindu, but later she converted herself into Islam, and she died as a Islam religious person. Kamala Das Suraya. Later her name is named as Kamala Das Suraya. That is for the 10, 12 years she lost for it. And during the 1992, her husband, after 42 years of their married life, her husband died. She was very lonely that time. She was very lonely, and she started to thinking of uh, her mental peace. So in that mental peace, she converts herself into the Islam. These things she mentioned, and we are witnessed we are witnessed her journey. And what is happening in her autobiography is that this autobiography, like the Ishmat Chugtai, she is also a rebel. She is also a rebel for what? She is also expressing her own feelings, experiences, and expectations and emotions through her literary work. She is very much considerable person and identified or recognized through her poetry and through her autobiography, that is My Story. This My Story is written in first in Malayalam as a serial in a journal called Malayala Nadu. Malayala Nadu, the journal name is. The magazine name is, it's a literary magazine. It is called Malayala Nadu, the name of the thing. It is written in the name of Entekada. Entekada means my story. Entekada means my story. In the Malayalam Nadu, she published it as a story. During its publication, people were just shocked to know that she was speaking very plainly, very honestly. She is exploring her every dark area that happened in her life without having any hesitation. So that is why the Hindu newspaper, many other literary magazines are considered this is the most honest autobiography of Indian woman. No one has written. Many people wrote their autobiographies with hypocrisies, with a point of view, in a fictional format, or in a very non-linear format. But she has written clearly in a linear format and expressed her opinions, her experiences clearly without having any hesitations. The one of the important thing that she explored, that she explored and narrated most of the hidden things or the secret things in her life about the sexuality, her desires, her extramarital relationships, her wishes, and how the people they looked towards her and they behaved with her without hesitation. She narrated these things. So that is why one side this is a autobiography, and other side it deals with a revolutionary, a rebel topic, that is the sexuality that comes through this lady, and why she has written in these things. During the 1970s, it is in the 1973, it is serialized during the time, and that time she was feeling very ill, and she was feeling very lonely. Most of the writers, the writings emerges from their loneliness, from their solitude or the loneliness. The solitude gives a different kind of a writing that helps us to look into ourselves, like introspection, retrospection. And she also went through the same thing. She was not feeling well. That time she had a kind of a heart disease during those days, and her doctor suggested her to take rest, don't do any kind of a work. When she was in her room, when she was isolated, when she was not isolated, when she was being with that solitude, she looked into herself and she redefined, she refigured, and she went back to her memories, and she re-looked at her memories, her experiences, and those memories and experiences come in a literary value, comes with a literary value. So that is what she has written in her solitude, from her the childhood to during her the age of the 50s, 40s and the 50s. Whatever the experiences she experienced, most of the times she focused different kind of the social history and the political history, because when we are growing up in a society, in a state, at the same time the society is also growing up in a different dimensions, especially in the political dimensions, how the political system, the social system is emerging and growing up. And same also, we are also growing up. We may not aware of it, we may not look at it in a particular perspective, but we both grow up simultaneously. What she has documented in this book, she documented the way she is growing up, how it helped, how the society helped, how the political history helped towards her to explore her views and ideas, and look at them in a different perspective. These things also she documented. There was a severe criticism. So if you are writing your own experiences, your own memory, so what is the use of using the word as a creativity? Creativity means you should imagine, you should write from a different context that exactly suits to the realistic life, something like that. A creative person, as the creative person, you can inspire from the social situations or the real situations, and you can imagine, you can fictionally create such things. We can call it as a creativity. But what is the reason that you are a creative person? If I say, if you are a creative person by writing your own experiences, such kind of criticism also was there when she published this book. Whether can we call it as a autobiography, can you call it as a creative work? That kind of differentiation, the these people, the critics question her. And if you look at the page number 99, 12.4 and 12.5, one is the personal history and the political history. The personal history and political history, they are going together. Personal history and the political history. We are part of the politics. If something is happening in our state with the politics, we look at them, we speak about them, and some of the incidents, some of the events that mold without knowing us, and that redirects us towards a different way or towards a different goal without knowing us. But we get inspired from it, we get influenced from these ongoing political things. So she combined these two things. One is the personal history and the personal life and the political life of others on ongoing things. And this novel, so this autobiography, the autobiographical form also allows her and the readers to discover Kamala Das' self. Autobiography means it's a self-narrative. It has another name. It's a self-narrative. She is narrating herself to the others. And we should remember another important thing here in Malayalam. In Malayalam, her pen name is Madhavi Kuti. Her pen name is Madhavi Kuti. In English, when it comes to, she has written in the name of the Kamala Das. English, she has used her real name, but in Malayalam, she used the Madhavi Kuti name. And there is a Malayalam movie. The movie name is Ami, A-A-M-I. The Malayalam name is Ami. Ami. This is based on the feminist perspective of the my story. And here she mentioned about her teenage, what she has some kind of a crush and the love on the neighboring boys, to her desires, her pleasures, her extramarital affairs with other people, how she shared with these to her husband, blah blah blah. All the things she mentioned in this story. And yeah, there's one point here. Kamala Das' My Story has been viewed as an explicit statement about her sexual desires. Why this is so, she writes herself by also viewing herself as part of a large community of Nair women whose selves, sexual or creative, have not been recognized. She discusses the various ways by which her individuality has been stifled and how her attempt through this text has been to create that self. The autobiography means we are relooking at ourselves. When we are experiencing something, we may be with the pain, we may be with the laugh or a smile or with a joy. We did not recognize the thing, what it is happened to us, to ourselves. But after some days, when we relook at our memory, that will tell you. In the very beginning class, and in the last class, I don't know whether you remember it. I have given a puzzle theory. Today Sunday magazine. If we turn the pages, browse the pages, maybe on the last page or in the somewhere in between that, they have given a kind of puzzles, picture puzzles. You identify a bird or a tree, or else a bird on a tree. They will give you some dots, some jigsaw structures, and we ask us to identify the picture. We struggle a lot initially. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes it's 1 hour, sometimes it may take 1 day, sometimes it may take 1-2 minutes also. And we struggle a lot to figure out what kind of figure is there, what kind of image is there in that puzzle. We struggle a lot, and one find a way, found it immediately. One find time. And after some time, after 1 hour or next day, when we revisit that puzzle, we won't look it as a puzzle. Directly, our perspective, our understanding goes to, there is a figure, there is a bird in it, there is a tree in it, in that puzzle. Directly, our experience goes to there. the same as when we experience something in a particular period of time, we don't realize what it is happening, why it is happening. Later, when we recount or revisit or relocate our experience, that time it clearly shows because of this emotion, because of this event, because of this incident, because of lack of my understanding about myself, I did this thing. So that kind of a bird eye view we will gain over a period of time through our maturity, through our experience. So that is what this Kamala Das has done in her autobiography. And when it comes to the act of creativity, what is this? We must not summarily dismiss the genre like the diary or autobiography is not being created, because we should consider, though this is our personal experience, it happened in our life, the people may see whatever is happening in our life, the others will see in a different perspective, and we will see in a different perspective. When we look at that and document that in a particular point of view, so this is called as a creative work. So here it says the distinction between the fact and fiction is not clearly demarcated. We have seen how Kamala Das has woven elements of narrative, the descriptive, the poetic, etc., into her autobiography. Because the things whenever are happening, just the things are happening, we are experiencing them. We are not adding any poetic value. We are not adding any expression to that. Sometimes we may simply call it is my fate, it is my luck, by chance, by accident. These words we may use during that period of time. But when we relocate that memory and the experience, that time we will add a point of view, how we look at our life, whether it is a good or a bad. In others' eyes, it may be the very bad thing, but in our point of view, if we look at that experience, it gives a new perspective to the others. So that is how we read the things. The Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, those people, we were their autobiographies when we read them, or else Malala, we take them, any kind of people. Then they revisit it. The autobiography is not just like the diary of a writing. Diary of a writing that written in the day it is happening. But after 1 year, when we read the diary, we understand there are gaps, there are mistakes and misunderstandings. Those things will be clubbed together and will give you a different meaning. So that is why this part of autobiography is also a creative writing. That is what the people are saying. Autobiography has another name. It's a self-narration or the self-writing or else the life writing. It is there. Writing an autobiography involves the acts of recalling and recreating. Remember, recalling and recreating. The question may come in the two ways. The general summary you can write, and why it is called as a autobiography is a creative work. The fifth question. How do we understand that the term creativity? The fifth question is there no to that answer. Writing an autobiography involves the acts of recalling and recreating. It would also depend on factors like when a writer writes his or her autobiography and what motivates the person to write it. This is important. Why the people are decided to write it? It's just like everybody has, you have an experience, I have an experience, but we are not writing the same. Some people, we are not documenting anything in the diary. But after compiling these instances as a diary in the format, but now they are writing for a particular purpose to look at that event and the incident in a different point of view to create that. Madam, I'm in class. We'll get back to you after 10 minutes. Yeah. It would also depend on factors like when a writer writes his or her autobiography and what motivates the person to write it. In other words, it depends, among other things, the author's location and ideology. Yeah, these things we should remember and look at it. Okay. As of now, I'm done. Do you have any doubts? Hello, is my voice audible? Any doubts? I completed these 3 important topics: one short story, one autobiography, and one novel. Any doubts? Oh, sure, madam. I will share it because I have chosen the other one. I don't have a problem with my laptop. I will prepare my own. I have the topics of the previous years that is not opening. That is not opening because my MS Word is not working. Once I reinstall my MS Word and it open, I will send mine. Actually, those are not mine. Those are not mine. I will share. Sure, I will share the important points what you can write in your exam. That's what you can a little bit elaborate things. Subtitles will do that. Any other thing? Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. Sir, the point is 8, 9, 10 papers, the classes are not going on, sir. Only 2 classes are going on. Your class and Faziola's class.
Okay.
The next paper. And after 1:30, no class was going on, sir. Yesterday and the previous week, that is last Sunday.
Okay.
So would you kindly inform HOD ma'am or somebody else that to make sure that the classes are going on at least from today? Our other study centers, they did not conduct any class, sir, all these days except Hyderabad.
Okay.
So we are
Ramu, you are
struggling. Only
Ramu,
these
right?
classes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ramu, do you have my number?
Yes, sir.
Just after this session, just ping me in my personal number.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, sure. I will inform.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sir. Any other? So from the whatever we discussed this today's that Kamala Das is important. Remember, Kamala Das is very important. Again, we have a time because I am going very fast because these 2 blocks I wanted to complete. I supposed to conduct the block 3rd block onwards. Since you said these blocks are not attempted, so that's why I'm going back. We have time. So what is important? And I got less marks in first year paper 5, madam. I did not know, madam, these things because we don't know who evaluate and what. You can improve, madam. You can what you can do. You can again you pay the fee for the paper. You pay the fee and attempt it. Before the exam time, or some other time you can. If you have my number, again I will conduct one small session for you. For people who have come, will explain the important topics of the paper file. But I don't know what happened. That's it, because my job is only teaching here. Any other? The best one. I'm sure you will get good score right now if you attempt this time. The higher score you will be considered. Higher score will be considered. Any other? That's done for this session. Next class, I don't know whether you have the time or not. How many of you watched this Kanya Shulakam? I will spend 10 minutes in next class. We'll move to the block 3.
Sir, would you repeat the question, sir?
Kanya Shulakam. Kanya Shulakam. Kanya Shulakam. There is unit 5, block 1. I said this is important, Kanya Shlokam, comedy of manners and the summary. I will spend some time in the next class, 10 to 15 minutes on it, and we'll jump into the others, the Nisi Magical selected poems and Mahashweta Devi. Just read and come back, because the explaining summary is very difficult in this class.
Sir, I read in Telugu, sir.
Oh, no problem, sir. Telugu is fine. If you have a little vocabulary in English, you can express well. There only you need to look at the two things: comedy of manners, and other one is the social history and social geography of Telugu culture, or is the context of the Kanya Shulkam. Next class we'll start with we'll start. How many poems are there? Okay, Nisi Magical poetry and Jayanta Mahamatra poetry and Mother of 1084. In next class, I will focus on these three things. Among these three, one is important, Nisi Magical. This fellow Nisi Magical again comes in the paper 9. So you can let's combine together. Nisi Magical will do, and Mother of 1084 will do. And watch that Nagamandala also. I will explain smallly. But now onwards, the things are very simple. Yeah. Okay. Shall I take a leave? Is there anything left you want to share? Okay. Oh, I did not understand. Please inform another class also, sir. Means what, Veena? What is your question? Another class also. What to inform? Hmm. Okay. Okay. I will do that. Sure, I will do it. Thank you very much. I am leaving. Thank you. We'll see you in the next class.